And take the darn cat with you. Anyway. What?
Jesus, Steven. Or starting off the podcast with yelling at your cat or yelling at Jesse about the cat.
Yeah. No, she just asked me if I want the cat in or out. And then I just kind of said, no, just keep her out. And then I decided as soon as the clock winds down, I'm going to act like I'm in the middle of an argument.
Well, that was good acting on your part.
It was. I don't think she liked. I don't think she liked that too much.
Well, yeah. You tried.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I didn't even ask a question. I'm so thrown off guard. I usually throw off a whole routine.
All right.
Are you ready to talk combine, Steven?
No.
Well, neither am I. So thank God for that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I was actually thinking about this. I'm just going to say it right now. We're already getting off to the podcast. I have realized I'm.
By the way, just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Mm-hmm. Glad to be back from a little week hiatus.
Yes, since the Super Bowl.
Now we're in the little break.
Yeah. The thing about the combine, though, Derek, I realized I don't care so much about watching it now, but the thing I've enjoyed is going back and watching the combine of like the star players nowadays.
To see if it adds up with how good of a player they could be.
Well, not even that. It's just like. It's just fascinating to see like a guy like George Kittle, for example, and seeing the transformation that he's gone through since his rookie season. I was watching his NFL posted it to their Instagram. He's got like the short hair. He's clean cut. He's a little smaller. I don't know. Just seeing all the changes that these guys go through. And I think that kind of diminishes the current combine for me because I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, this may display their athletic abilities right now, but they could be totally different players in 3 or 4 years' time, and we're not even going to think about their combines for now. So it's almost unfair to judge a player by the combine nowadays.
Let me be completely honest. I usually love all things NFL, but I can't stand the combine, and it's just boring television to me. And I know I worked at NFL Network for 3 seasons, and I'll say it then, I say it now. It's not good, and I understand you want to look at measurables and all the stuff coming for the upcoming class of the draft class and everything, but I just don't care. Besides DK Metcalf running a fantastic 40 time or any of that shit, the old school video of Tom Brady in his underwear and all that. I enjoyed it back in the day when it was Rich Eisen and Mike Mayock having fun. I'm sure Eisen will do his 40-yard dash as he always does. I don't think he's even doing it this year with Daniel Jeremiah. I think they're having a bunch of former players be a part of the broadcast this year. I'm not a fan. The only thing I'm a fan of when it comes to the combine is fuckery season starts, and that's where everybody goes to Indianapolis and starts mixing around, and we've already heard some GMs and coaches talk, and things are going to get done by next week maybe. Some trades will go down. So that's the only part of the combine that I'm into.
Yeah, the unofficial negotiations.
Unofficial negotiations where guys go to St. Elmo's and get a little tipsy and start making some deals and start spilling some tea. And Derek Carr holding meetings with 3 different teams.
What a guy.
Yeah.
No financials discussed either. No financials, apparently. It's all just trying to find the right fit. He does not care about the money.
Really? And that's why he wants to sign a $350 million contract? We shall see. Before we get to all that, as the fuckery season is upon us, not officially yet, but I like I said, I think next week we'll start seeing some trades as things got crazy last year, as we call it on the podcast, the fuckery, the free agency fuckery. Steven's looking a little professional lately on the old Twitter. Got a new profile picture, got the new handle.
Well,
tweeting every little goddamn thing you see.
Yeah, but hey, that was once. That was one day, and I was overcompensating for the amount of tweets that I put out there. But also, there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to respond to, and I had takes, and I had to get these takes off. But at the same time, just if you open up my actual profile, the header picture is still Tom Cruise sprinting.
From what movie?
Mission Impossible 4: Ghost Protocol, when he's in Dubai and he's sprinting away from the dust storm.
What's your favorite Mission Impossible? Because we got the 7th one coming out this summer.
Favorite one? 4 is awesome. I remember because it'd been the wait from 3 to 4 had been so significant that it made Ghost Protocol that special. But man, that scene from the last one Mission Impossible 6 when they're in the bathroom.
Talk about Fallout.
Oh, yes. So good.
It's hands down Fallout.
Yes. Yeah. It's hard to put that above
popcorn movies, but Fallout was just a fantastic movie from start to finish. The acting, the storyline goes back to the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a lot of time watching Mission Impossibles over the old Pandy.
Yeah. It's they're addicting, but yeah, I'd say Fallout's probably the best one, but Ghost Protocol's right there. I love Ghost Protocol. I think Simon Pegg.
That's the thing. I don't even remember. Like, the ones that stick out to me are the third one, because I just like Philip Seymour Hoffman as the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other ones kind of jumbled together for me, but Fallout sticks out to me as well. And the second one, the Limp Bizkit one, as I call it.
The Limp Bizkit one, the one that is shot like just your B-list karate movie or like a Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it's the most Fast and Furious out of all of them.
Yeah, with the beginning scene with the rock climbing, where he
doesn't need a harness, and he. Yeah, I thought I said I was on vacation, and then throws the glasses before they explode.
100%. And then
Anthony Hopkins for one scene.
Yes, and then but the Ghost Protocol one, it's the one where he's in the tall building in Dubai and he has the glove that sticks to
Simon Pegg.
Yes, and you got to make sure you make sure that you wave your hand off of the glass instead of just placing it right on there and placing it off, or else the electronics are going to go buggy. But instead, he followed the rules, yet the gloves wore off on him anyway. Oh, just a thrill ride. It was so funny though when he goes into the glass. He like kicks his way into the building, and then Simon Pegg, all he's doing is like creating masks in the building. And then Simon Pegg like sprints into the room after Tom Cruise goes through that whole ordeal, and Simon Pegg's acting like he had the hardest job out of all of them, like panting. Oh, what a time!
Simon Pegg knew how to get shit done. So did Ving Rhames.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And who else were in the Jeremy Renner and Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
And who's the blurred lines guy? His wife, ex-wife, I should say.
Paula Patton.
Yeah, Paula Patton.
Mm-hmm.
What's that guy's name though?
It's
the singer that sings Blurred Lines.
Yeah, Robin Thicke.
Yeah, not to be confused with his more talented father. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief. If you're having tax issues, you need
the IRS is calling you for your birthday. Uh-oh. All right. Inside jokes aside, we're gonna have some fun as we're in the off season here, and we'll talk obviously some football. We'll talk more basketball. Warriors season get a little more interesting lately. We'll talk about baseball and all of the rule changes that are going into effect this spring training and when the regular season starts. But and we'll do some of our old favorites like pop culture catch up, and we'll go back to Steven's 70-second soccer segment.
Oh boy, you don't want to hear that.
Oh, maybe not today, but we'll.
I could go off if you want. Like
all right.
My team's in the dumpster right now, so it's
who's your team again?
Chelsea,
that's right. They're going through the dump. They're in the dumpster right now.
Oh my God, they just went on like the biggest spending spree in soccer history, and they haven't won a game.
Save it. All right. Well, we'll get to that at the end of the podcast, and we'll do some of our old stuff. I feel terrible about this. I still need to own up to the bet that I lost during the regular season of football, or the whole season in general. I need to drink a coffee with mayonnaise in it, the old Will Levis.
Oh,
and it's just hard for me at night to go get a cup of coffee. There's coffee shops around me, but I got to be completely honest. I've never ordered a cup of coffee in my life, so I don't even know what to get.
Yeah. You're gonna be like Paul Rudd and Role Models.
A venti?
Yeah. Venti 20 Venti. Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
That is me in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And also when Larry David says in Curb Your Enthusiasm, I'll just have a bullshit drink.
Yeah.
All right. But we're going to do this every time we do a new podcast. I'm going to give you some fuckery updates, just some latest NFL news that we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on, but just to update the audience since the last time we did a podcast.
Okay.
So, got a lot of releases. Bobby Wagner released by the Rams, one and done with them. Taylor Lewan getting cut by the Titans. Robert Woods getting cut by the Titans. Zach Cunningham getting cut by the Titans. Carson Wentz getting cut by the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what his future is like. Leonard Fournette getting cut as well. Kenny Golladay getting cut from the Giants. And we kind of knew this was happening, but I guess Tom Pelissero made it official with a report Jalen Ramsey on the trade block, so he may get dealt here maybe by next week when trades go down before free agency starts to happen. So there you go on the fuckery updates. Seems like the Rams are doing kind of like a mini rebuild, but not full on, I would say. So we'll see what Jalen Ramsey goes for. But before we get into Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers and all that stuff, the 49ers, before well, we talked about it when they lost the NFC Championship game, they talked to the media and they were addressed that Brock Purdy's injury, the UCL tear, should be back in 6 months.
Correct.
And should be back in time for training camp. And that took place on February 1st, that press conference. And fast forward to a couple days ago when John Lynch spoke to the media at the Combine and said that they had to delay the surgery because of inflammation in his elbow. So the surgery has been delayed, which kind of delays the timetable as well. So instead of having a concrete answer, as they did before on when his return would be, now it sounds like Brock Purdy's in jeopardy of not being ready for training camp and possibly to be not ready for the season.
Right.
Where Trey Lance would have the upper hand on him, or upper elbow, I should say.
Yikes.
And we'll see. I thought it was pretty good. And we'll see. Before they downplayed them going into the veteran QB market, they still don't want to go after Jimmy Garoppolo. That ship has sailed. John Lynch was a little more courteous about it than Kyle Shanahan was.
Gosh, that felt like damage control, didn't it? It's like, okay, now I got a question about Jimmy. Let me be the one to answer this because Kyle clearly.
Well, you were there that day, right?
Yeah.
Did it feel like there was tension when Kyle just like, no, he's not coming back?
A little bit. That was that. I'd say there was more tension with that one than the last question where he was like saying, "Sorry, I'm
Oh yeah, from Jason Cole.
Yeah. Had no idea that was Jason Cole, by the way. Heavy breather. But anyway, dude, that thing that John Lynch said though, I was like, man, that was like it just felt like he knew that he needed to clear that up because that was
because Tim Kawakami addressed it in an article.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Like I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't even think that far into it. I kind of, in my mind, I thought it was just Shanahan being so done with all the questions about Jimmy Garoppolo and
that's
coming
what I
back,
thought too. Yeah,
where he just said, "I'm like, no, there's no scenario in which I envision him coming back. I'm not going to give you any more words. You can't question that one. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to follow up with that? No, you're not. Like, you're just going to say, okay, well, we'll move on. It's just the most direct as he could be. So yeah, when John Lynch was just saying all the word salad about Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm like, yep, all right, you're just, yeah, maybe Lynch has a different feeling about it. I don't know how either of them feel, but clearly he was trying to do some damage control, I think.
Yeah, but also like that's how John Lynch is. He's going to give the more politically correct answers where Kyle looks like he's irritated by the media all the time, which, you know, rightfully so. You got a job to do.
Yep.
So it does sound like, though, that Brock Purdy is going to be a little behind. So that gives Trey Lance a little better, leg up, whatever I said before, shoulder up, going into the season where he might be the starter, and then they might look to more of a veteran.
Yeah.
As a backup. I saw you suggested Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
And Matt Kolsky, who's been filling in this week, your good buddy on Tolbert and Coates, filling in for Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
He suggested the same thing. I hear you guys, but I don't know if you're Marcus Mariota, do you want to be hypothetically the third string quarterback once Brock Purdy is healthy?
Well, there's the caveat right there. Like that's the thing is I think Mariota is a very capable number two. Like he's not a guy to be buried as he's not going to be the case study for this possible new third quarterback rule that they might bring back. Like, you know what I mean? He's not that. He's definitely a capable backup. And I was just intrigued by it because like, I think what Kyle Shanahan would be able to scheme up with Mariota in certain packages, I think that's why it was intriguing to me. But at the same time, I don't know what the price point is for Mariota because it feels like he's been overpaid at least by the Raiders at first. I think he was paid like $11.5 million for 2 years to get paid as a backup. So I don't know what the price point is, but he's intriguing. There are plenty of intriguing backup options. It's kind of boring to discuss that, but yeah, Trey Lance is the number one guy going into OTAs as of right now when they start up in May. It sounds like he's pretty healthy. He's ready to go. The thing with Purdy, though, I was thinking of it from Purdy's standpoint. Like, could you imagine being the quarterback who, let's just say he elects to undergo full reconstructive. Let's just say he undergoes Tommy John, full reconstructive surgery, gets a brand new ligament put in that UCL, and then he continues on with the future. I know you hate legacy, Derek, but imagine, wouldn't you want to take the Tommy John surgery just because if you come back and you ball out and you get the starting job, this guy came back from Tommy John and he was still the same guy. Nothing better than that is legacy for an athlete.
Well, the more that he prolongs that, the more it will take time for him to come back from that.
Well, I mean, hey, if he goes full reconstructive, like, he's done for the year. There's no bringing him back.
Yeah, there's a good chance also that you're not the same guy after that.
But I'm just saying, what if he's not?
That's a huge risk. That's a huge risk.
I'm just saying, Derek, you come back and you're the guy who comes back from Tommy John. Man, you're like a superhero.
Yeah, that's not sweetening the deal. I think that Brock Purdy will take the best approach if he needs Tommy John. I don't think that's still not a thing yet.
No, it's that the type of surgery. It's a joke, Derek. Easy. Jesus. It's the type of surgery is not determined.
I think it's ridiculous that he wants to be a guinea pig for the only quarterback that did that was Jake Delhomme.
Come on, man. Be the first quarterback in history to lead their team to a Super Bowl coming back from Tommy John.
This is actually brilliant, though.
Yeah.
Because no one remembers Jake Delhomme besides me.
Right?
No, I'm kidding.
dude, the funny, but no, not funny thing, but the procedures, it's crazy how there's like just the repair of the UCL, just the full reconstructive surgery, or you can get a hybrid of the two, and then you could be back from 7 to 9 months. Like, I'm like, what? Like, if you're gonna look, don't half-ass the surgery. If you're just gonna repair the UCL, then just repair the UCL. But you don't need to go halfway if you're gonna do full if you're gonna reconstruct, do full reconstructive.
We'll see what happens. I still think that there's a possibility that Brock Purdy could be ready by the start of the season. We'll see what happens with Trey Lance and Brock. But it seems like the whole discussion of the offseason of Trey Lance versus Brock Purdy, it's leaning towards Trey Lance's favor because of the injury to Mr. Purdy.
Right. Yep.
So we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, as far as the backup quarterback situation, whoever they get, I don't think it's going to be any big name. I think it's going to be a camp arm. They may get a couple guys. It could be Nate Sudfeld for all we know, since Kyle likes him. So I wouldn't be surprised that it's just going to be a guy to help out Trey Lance. Nothing big. No Marcus Mariotas. No, maybe Tyrod Taylor, but I don't see any big name coming in to help out Trey Lance. Like, I heard Matt Ryan's name's out there. Matt Ryan, at this point, he's going to go into broadcasting. I don't think he's good being a third-string quarterback for the 49ers.
No, there's no use in that. So it depends on who Brian Griese wants to. I think Brian Griese has quite a say in this. We always forget about the quarterback coaches in this day and age, but Brian Griese, I think, I think it also depends on who he wants in that quarterback room. Just say, hey, yeah, we bring in this guy. Like, he may not get any playing time, but he'll at least understand what we're trying to do. I don't know. Like, the backup quarterback is such a odd discussion to have, like a nuanced discussion. It's like, how many, man, I really think, man, they need to sign Sam Darnold. That's really going to put the Niners over the top. Like, no. Like, no backup quarterback is going to put your team over the top. Who cares?
Well, yeah, you do need a good backup, but no. Again, we're talking about a third-string guy when Brock Purdy's healthy, so the whole conversation is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, and at least they got the confirmation that he was having the surgery early next week. Like, the whole the details were murky at first. Like, I was really curious to see what Lynch had to say yesterday when he was going to talk about it, because, like, when you hear just the reports that, they'll reconvene at the beginning of next month. Reconvene, what does that mean? What? They're just going to see if the if the elbow's still inflamed. Are they going to decide on the type of surgery? Like, is this going to change? What's going to happen here? But
as the guy that used to write the Truth Machine, it means stop asking us questions. We'll figure it out. Shut up.
yes, exactly. So what we got the rest of March, April, May. So he'd probably be throwing by June.
Yeah, the thing. So it lines up with if he gets the surgery by March 7th, that he'll be ready by September 7th, which is the start of the season.
Okay, gotcha. Huh. I
So
don't know.
no preseason games, none of that shit. It's just ready for week 1, and I have a hard time believing that Kyle would be comfortable with that.
Yeah. No, it's all right. It's Trey Lance time. There you go. Well, Niner fans got what they wanted, man. Like a lot are really on Trey Lance's side here, and this is something. Purdy's had his chance, and now it's time to see what they got with Lance.
Here's the thing: how are Niner fans going to react when Trey Lance is benched for Brock Purdy? If that happens,
that's going to be oof.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the hot seat conversation comes out.
That's the next domino to fall, and Ron Carthon is calling to get Trey Lance to Tennessee, maybe.
Wow.
Just throwing that out there. Also, Ron Carthon. Did you hear his quote the other day?
You mean Ran Carthon? Yes. What's up?
Ran, my bad.
Which one?
The Golden State Warriors basketball in September. What the hell does that mean? He says he wants a certain style of football to be played because he says like Smash Mouth football usually wins championships. And Golden State Warriors football that is played in September doesn't usually work. I think what he means is like high-flying offense and all that stuff. Or
maybe what he means is not trying in the regular season. That doesn't tend to work.
That could be that could be a possibility as well.
Although I mean, he's definitely talking about the years the Warriors in previous years. Like maybe not these past couple because they've really had to scratch and claw through the regular season just to remain at the top of the standings. But yeah, like early season basketball for the Warriors. I remember when they used to. It's funny that Kevin Durant's on the Suns now because I remember when they would take games off against the Suns and really wouldn't start trying until the second half. And
Durant, dude, you remember when it was a big deal when the players coached a game against the Suns?
Yes,
it was not that big of a deal, and everybody took it as disrespect.
Yeah. What a time.
What a time.
But no, I also heard what he said about Elijah Mitchell too. I don't know. That stuff's cool, man. I like hearing that where they just basically said like, hey, we felt like he was the best running back available who could run through our scheme, which just, draft is for the most part, draft stock is based solely on talent. They don't really take into account I don't think they take too much into account as to whether this running back can fit a certain offense. I think they just look at it solely based on talent. It's like, hey, let's make a big board. All right, let's get the top players at this position. Okay, I think this guy's more talented. I got BJ Robinson. I got these guys. And then down on the lower tier of that list, maybe there's another player who can fit. And Elijah Mitchell was that guy. I thought that was pretty cool.
You just like that because Ron gave props to your guy, Mike McDaniel.
No.
Yeah, you do. All right. Car watch. We'll do this on every podcast till he signs with the team.
Working at the car watch, yeah.
The car watch. I was thinking more Brian Fantana. The mood is tense. We got a disgruntled quarterback, and I tried to get an interview with him. He said, nope, you can't do it. He'll rip your face off.
He will literally rip your face off.
Hey, get out here. You're making me look stupid, car jerk. So the latest is that while we were gone, Derek went to New York to do a sit-down with the Jets brass. And what came away from that conversation was a lot of reports, mostly from Diana Rossini, who she said that the Jets were so blown away by Derek Carr, and they believe that he could be a Hall of Fame quarterback if he came to them. Really?
Wasn't it more like if he wins a Super Bowl and takes them to where they want to be, he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
If that's the direct quote, then listen, it's a lot of smoke being blown up old Derek Carr's ass because while the Jets may say that, they're waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make his decision first.
Yeah.
So they're putting this out there to be like, you're our number one guy until Aaron Rodgers says no. That's my belief. So then he sits down with the Saints, who we talked to before he denied the trade with the Raiders and everything. So he sat down with the Saints, sat down with the Jets again, and he sat down with the Panthers today at the Combine. So you're telling me that they didn't talk any facts or figures? They were just talking about fit and philosophy and faith, I'm assuming?
That's what Ian Rappaport said. He said it's solely fit. They haven't talked any financials yet.
Okay. All right. I can believe that as well. I'm changing my tune. If I had to guess, now that I thought initially that if there was going to be a trade done, it was going to be with the Saints because they really can't have any wiggle room when it comes to a quarterback. If I'm Derek Carr, also, I don't want to wait around for Aaron Rodgers to make his decision. And who the hell knows when that's going to be? Hopefully by next week. Also, if you're Derek Carr or any quarterback that's going to go to the Jets, I want a straight up, answer from Joe Douglas and everybody in. It's not Joe Douglas. Who's the new? Is it still Joe Douglas?
It is Joe Douglas.
Yeah, it's Joe Douglas. And I want to know from Robert Saleh, and I want to know from Woody Johnson, what the hell are you guys doing with Zach Wilson? Am I coming in to be his guy, his mentor for a few seasons, and then he needs to be, showing that he's the number 2 overall pick? Either if you're Derek Carr, I want him off the team. I'm not here to babysit him. I want to be this guy. If I'm the first ballot Hall of Famer that you think I am, Zach Wilson needs to get the hell off my team and go hang out with some moms. I don't want him on the team.
Right.
Now, if you're Aaron Rodgers, I understand you could play a couple seasons and then he's the new guy. So, and also, Derek Carr and the swirling winds of the Meadowlands, I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
It's been well documented. He's not very good when it's cold outside. And it gets cold in New York.
Yeah. Can't wait till they play Buffalo in December.
Jesus Christ. So if I had to guess, I'm going to say Carolina because out of all the head coaches that he's talking with, the only offensive guy is Frank Reich. And Frank Reich likes the Bible as much as Derek Carr. So I think they'll have a commonality there.
Wow.
I'm just being real. That's the truth.
Right. So, okay. So, you're making a lot of sense. But just like
I try to.
But
sorry, I shit all over your idea about Brock Purdy being the first guy to second guy to get Tommy John. I was trying to make sense of that argument.
I'm just saying, wouldn't you want to be the first quarterback in history?
No, you don't.
Tommy John and lead their team to the Super Bowl. You'd be talked about for years.
No one wants to be the $6 million quarterback, Steven. An old reference for you kids out there.
I don't know. Jesus, you kids. You are a kid, Derek. You're 30. So anyway,
not many kids are referencing the $6 million man, though.
No,
Steve Austin.
You? That was like that preceded you by like 20 years.
I know from the cable guy. Okay.
What do you know from like what?
I just want to hang out. No big deal.
Did you just like watch reruns of I Love the 80s growing up, and you're just like, man, I'm gonna recite these when I'm older.
With Michael Ian Black, you bet your ass I did.
Oh my God, with Michael Ian Black and like the whole cast of Dude, Where's My Car? But anyway.
Not Sean William Scott.
I think Carr would. I've said it from the beginning. If he goes to the Jets, I do think that talent that's around him. I mean, they really got some up and comers. But you're right. What are they going to do with Zach Wilson? It seems like I don't know if Saleh was just blowing smoke to the media, but it seemed like he's pretty set on in his Zach Wilson belief and thinking that he could be a good quarterback. I don't know if he was just saying that to say it. But you're right. Carr would, if he was going to that team, he'd be like, nah, I don't need Zach Wilson just waiting there. And there's a possibility that you can bench me. And then we can have like a Zach Wilson, Mike White situation where all of a sudden I'm making all this money and, the team wants Zach Wilson. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there's a risk that he does run. I really don't know where he's going to land though. Like I don't have a prediction. The Panthers, I'm going to still stick with the Jets, because I don't think they're going to land Aaron Rodgers. Dude, I actually think there's a chance Aaron Rodgers retires. Like, I really do. Like, I don't.
We'll get to old Aaron Rodgers.
But, like, I don't think I don't even think he's going to play. So I'd still choose the Jets for Carr. If I was him, I'd choose the Jets. If I could play with a guy like Garrett Wilson and then a guy who, if he would have played more games, would have been up for Offensive Rookie of the Year in Breece Hall. If I could do that, I'm absolutely going to that team. And Elijah Moore, too, along with that defense. Quinnen Williams, CJ Mosley.
You can name all the names. Sauce Gardner. DJ Reed.
There you go. Like I'd go to the Jets. Plus, I got some sick. I'm actually a fan of the Jets jerseys. I think I like them a lot. So, yeah, I'd still take the Jets.
You like their drip, huh?
I do. I like the drip.
Yeah. See, I'm cool.
Hey.
I'm with you, Steven. The Jets have a ton of talent, and that's why it would be appealing to Aaron Rodgers as well. But I just don't think that, I don't know, Derek in New York, it just doesn't sound good to me.
Yeah.
The media would eat him alive.
Yeah.
And also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just typed up Derek Carr. This is all I typed up into the search engine, right?
Well, what search engine?
Google. So I'm seeing.
You didn't go with Bing?
I didn't go with Bing. No, sorry, I did not go with the subset of Internet Explorer. But the Jets feel good about Derek Carr courtship, but Aaron Rodgers' decision looms. That's a headline from The Athletic.
That too. I'm not waiting around for Aaron Rodgers.
A headline from Panthers Wire report: Panthers more focused on cheaper veteran quarterbacks than on Derek Carr.
So I saw that. I think I can't believe that they're in negotiations to sign back Sam Darnold too, but I guess that's being reported out there as well. I don't know if I'm just taking it for what it was reported with 3 teams. I would say that most appealing to Derek would be Carolina because it's the South, it's kind of southern region. He wants to be a minister, and I'm telling you, Frank Reich's going to sell him on his love for the Bible. No, I'm dead ass serious. Like I'm not joking. Like watching Hard Knocks, that's a big reason. Like Frank Reich and Carson Wentz were close, is because they were Bible buddies, and we all know that Derek Carr loves himself the Scripture.
Correct. That's interesting. That's it. But I mean, and Frank Reich's a good coach.
Yeah, great coach.
I think he could definitely work with Carr and maybe make him a better quarterback. But yeah, 100%. I still think he's going to the Jets. Like, I think that's what it's going to end up being.
That'd probably be the smart move, but also I just don't know how he could play in that environment. Because as soon as he sucks, he's going to hear from Fireman Ed.
Who?
Fireman Ed, their guy. And it's JETCARR, you suck.
Yeah. The guy who's way too serious about football and needs to just, like, calm down.
Well, he's a fireman. He likes to put out fires during the week and then watches football. Leave him alone, Steven.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. Thank you for your service, Fireman Bill.
There you go. It's Fireman Ed. You're thinking of the Jim Carrey character.
Oh, sorry. Fire Marshal Ed.
Fire Marshal Ed. No, Fire Marshal Bill. Oh yeah, you're screwing me up.
Play on words, Derek.
I know. And also David Carr, speaking for Derek all the time. I have been supportive of Derek in this whole situation and everything, but I'm kind of getting tired of David saying everything for him. I think Derek would be tired of that as well, but who knows? But the whole, like, he's going to take his time and he's going to figure out what's the best place for him. I would love for Derek also to acknowledge at one point that he didn't play well last season. Because I understand, like, he's upset with everything with the Raiders and whatnot. But at some point, can't you just look and see that he didn't live up to expectations? Like, I don't know. I think that we'll get some resolution pretty shortly here. I don't know by end of the week, but I think maybe by next week that Derek Carr will sign with a new team.
Yeah.
And it very well could be the Jets. But then they would have to be out on Aaron Rodgers because I think they have their heart set on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they seem pretty strong into Aaron Rodgers. But again, I think he is retiring.
So why do you say that?
It's just the way that he's talking. It's just the fact that he hasn't said anything to the Jets or the Packers. It's like Brian Gutekunst is trying to sell everybody on Jordan Love. I think the Packers are in trouble. Regardless, like I don't think Jordan Love's that good of a quarterback. He's not Aaron Rodgers waiting behind Brett Favre. It's not like he's a superstar just waiting to happen. He may have all the makings of a starting quarterback, but I've seen Jordan Love play. Maybe he can be as good as everyone thinks that he is, or as good as the Packers are advertising him. But I don't think it's going to happen. But the way that he's talking, the only guy that Aaron Rodgers has talked to is like that
fitness dude in Austin.
Yeah, that self-help podcaster guy.
Aubrey Marcus James.
Yeah. It's just the way that he was talking. It seems like he's really existential about the whole thing. And I think if he were sitting in that dark room, like, and he's thinking about everything that he's gone through. Like, wouldn't you just say, hey, everything that like, it's my decision. No one should care. If you don't want people to care, then just get out of the public eye, because that's what you're in when you're playing a professional sport. It's just, I personally think if he's all about like his mental well-being and not about the money, because he's going to make a total of 60 million guaranteed if he plays next year. If he's not about that, then if he's not about the money and he's all about his well-being, then I think retirement would be the best option for him.
You're probably right. But also in that interview, he did acknowledge that he thinks that he could play at a high level again, MVP level. So there's a balance to it. I hear you, Steven. I wouldn't be surprised if anything happens, but the most likely thing that I would be surprised with is him returning to the Packers at this point. With the way that Brian Gutekunst sounded in his press conference yesterday, saying everything from "we love Jordan Love, we're very excited to see him start," to then being asked straight up, do you want Aaron Rodgers back on this team? And he says, well, we got to see if it's a good fit. And then him, saying they haven't talked in a while. And the vibe that I got is that they're ready to move on from him. Now, prior to yesterday, while I was on vacation in Florida, and yes, Ernie, I was in Florida, but I wasn't campaigning with DeSantis or anything. I was just visiting my mom. That's a joke. I saw that Jeff Darlington and a lot of reporters, Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport, all seem to believe that the hype around Aaron Rodgers being traded was kind of overblown. That they heard from reliable sources that if Aaron Rodgers wants to return to the Packers will more than welcome him back. That is a big contrast to what local Packers reporter Bob McGinn said a couple weeks ago, where the Packers are disgusted with him and they're ready to move on.
Yeah, that was just basically that notion was dispelled, wasn't it? Like immediately.
I don't know. I have heard, not me personally, but I've seen different reports. Like Jeff Darlington, who said that a week ago, today said that it seems inevitable that the Packers and Rodgers are going to move on. Now, I think they're trying to put out the fire of them being disgusted. Like, that's a strong statement. I don't think the Packers want that out there. So they probably went to the three guys and said, spin that in a more positive light. But I do think they're ready to move on. Like, listening to Brian Gutekunst, it sounds like they're tired of him. It really does. And they want to see where he's at, and they would be more willing to get rid of him. And they're kind of hoping that he wants that as well. Like, he wants to move on.
Right.
But also, I'm sure he wants the $60 million guaranteed money. But then again, would the Jets be willing to trade him and offer him that amount of money? They probably have to restructure that. And whoever he goes to, you're going to have to have a guarantee that he's going to play for more than one season. Because I don't think anybody wants to just have a one-year rental for him.
Right.
So, I don't know. I would not be the least bit surprised if all of these moves happen simultaneously. Like, let's say next Tuesday, which was the case last year, we get the report that Aaron Rodgers is returning and he is going to be traded to the New York Jets or to the Vegas Raiders. And then simultaneously, Derek Carr signs with the Panthers and Saints. It could all happen in the same day, and that's what happened with Russell Wilson last year. Aaron Rodgers signed the contract, and then hours later, Russell Wilson got traded to the Broncos. So we'll see what happens. But I do believe yesterday was pretty telling with Brian Gutekunst and his reaction to everything, and not really giving much answers. It was kind of the same thing last year. Like, that's the thing too. I'm also really tired of all this. I'm really tired of just a song and dance every year of Aaron Rodgers. I kind of get conflicted with it because he also is just a guy trying to live his life, and everyone is judging him for this, darkness isolation thing, even though it's weird, but it's his life. He can do whatever he wants. He also, it's kind of like, you see the South Park episode where they made fun of the Prince and Meghan, what's his wife's name?
Meghan Markle.
Where they want their peace, and they're like, oh, please leave us alone, but they want everybody to look at it, pay attention to them.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel about Aaron Rodgers a little bit. At the same time, I really thought that the reporting on his isolation retreat was a little too much. Like, I don't need to know all the details, Adam Schefter, to refer it as a hobbit hole and then like
A
NFL
hobbit-like
Live,
structure. What the hell does that mean?
and like to put the picture up on the screen and everybody like to judge it. Like, all right, we know he's weird and he says some outlandish shit sometimes, but let him do his darkness thing. I don't give a shit about that. I also just think it's a little just it's a big deal. I gotta get my mind right and everything. Like, okay, dude, like just And also, I heard Rich Eisen the other day put it in perspective a little bit. It's not as bad as Favre. Favre would have the Packers wait until June and then give a response.
Right.
So it's not that crazy. We just live in a new era where social media wants an answer now. Now. So it's annoying. I get it. But I think we'll have some resolution by next week.
So, as you were on that diatribe, I was looking up the frequently asked questions of Sky Cave retreats in Southern Oregon. Would you be willing to go on a darkness retreat as a punishment instead of doing the spicy stuff? $250 a night. I'll go halvesies with you.
I got to pay for that?
No, I'll go halvesies.
Yeah, yeah. I got to pay anything of that?
Yeah, they recommend going 3 to 5 days in the dark, $250 a night, which includes meals and retreat support.
Free meals, huh? Well, it's not free.
Not free, because you're paying for it, but they'll bring you 2 simple organic meals daily in the evening to minimize disturbance. So the water is spring water that runs through both a sediment and UV filter for total purification. So I don't know, Derek. It seems like you need to go on a darkness retreat here. Maybe get your mind right.
I just did that at my mom's place for a week. It was nice. It was free.
She was just serving you meals like for in the evening as you're just sitting in a dark room.
She got me bagels every day. It was nice.
Oh, nice. That's adorable.
Can't get a good bagel on the West Coast, too. Sorry.
I'm just saying, but this Sky Cave retreats, it's seems pretty nice. And I'm also looking at
but you can also do it in your house. Just sit in your house or turn the lights off.
I'm also looking at the gallery. I like how the reporters act like they got some exclusive photo, but really they just got off the gallery on the website.
Yeah.
Nice.
Adam Schefter saying like, this is the scoop. Here's Aaron Rodgers' little hobbit-like structure. Like, it's a little dig. It's definitely a dig at Rodgers calling him out a couple weeks ago. Be like, you don't know shit about me, Schefter.
Right.
But yeah, dude, I think that with Gutekunst saying all options are on the table, I think they're tired of him. I do. And while it's not the extent of what Bob McGinn was saying, that they're disgusted with him, you hear a lot about how they want to know if he's all in. And I don't really know what that means. And at the same time, if you're the Jets or the Raiders, are you worried about that a little bit if he's all in?
Yeah. I mean, well, there's the other thing too. The Raiders, they're not going to get him.
Well, let's talk about that right now. So we really like that article written by Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated that chronicalized everything that happened with Derek Carr leading up to the decision to get rid of him. And he also wrote, while we were away, that the Raiders are not interested in Aaron Rodgers. More so, he phrases it as he's not in the plans as of now. And I think Vic Tafur followed that up a couple days ago, saying that he believes that the Raiders are not interested in Aaron Rodgers as well, which is kind of a contrast to what, Devontae Adams wants and, Darren Waller and a lot of, guys that are on the Raiders right now. And I'm starting to think that that's the case too. I think that if Aaron Rodgers does get traded, it's probably going to be with the Jets. And I get the sense from the Raiders that they're now willing to give up draft capital to get him for a season or two, where they need so many other things on their team and they have the 7th overall pick and they want to use that on something for the future. And then you hear Dave Ziegler on Bussin' with the Boys. Do you have that clip, Steven?
I do. Hang on.
Let's play that real quick because this caught my eye while we were away.
Can I before we play the
Nope,
Ziegler,
just play it.
Can we play before we play the Ziegler sound? I want to say I listened to the whole pod. The guy, I know it's just a podcast and you can only judge so much based off of an hour, but That's kind of how you get to know people. That's as much as you can get to know people, really, is hearing them on these sort of things. He seems like a genuinely good dude.
Yeah.
Like Dave Ziegler does, man. I had no idea that the reason he was on is because he was Taylor Lewan's high school guidance counselor.
Yeah, I found that out too. That's interesting.
The amount of crap that they were talking about Taylor Lewan and his grades and all this stuff and how he was as a player, like the way that he goes through scouting reports, just his whole mindset with things, the way that he learned of his job. Like he was celebrating a bachelor party on a golf course when McDaniel first called him back when he was with the Broncos, telling him he needs to like be hired. It's pretty cool the way that he's come up. I've got a lot of respect. He seems really grounded. A lot of general managers have this notion of like I deserve to be here because of my name. Like it's kind of how Mike Mayock was to me. Because he's the draft guy, he's who everyone knows, and it's like, oh, we're gonna be the ones that build this football team. I'm a hard school football guy, and he's got like that accent, he has that tough accent to him. But Ziegler, like he feels like he deserves the job because of how he's worked his ass off to get there. Like it's crazy. So I got a lot of respect for Ziegler. Just wanted to say that on the front end, but. Let's play this sound. I probably babbled on a little too much. I apologize.
No, but that was a good point, Steven. I'm with you on that one because you hear a lot of guys speak like there's a little arrogance to a couple guys. Like I'll say, Chris Ballard or Eric DaCosta with the Ravens. Like this is how we do business. We'll see if Lamar wants to come to us.
Right.
Or Howie Roseman just being like, I make moves, dude.
Yeah.
Not to say like that's the vibe they give off. Not like they're actually talking like that. But I'm with you. Dave Ziegler seems like. He's got a plan in place, and this is why this was kind of alarming to me.
You feel like it elevates the expectation at all when you make a decision like that? It's like, all right, well, now we need to figure out what our next moves are. Whether or not, and again, you're like, I can't go too far into it because it's not like you're going to say what your decisions are going to be. But you make a move like that, it's like, all right, boys, we made the decision.
Yeah,
let's figure out the way that we make sure we end up being right about this.
Yeah, that's the reality of it because it's the quarterback.
Right.
It's the most important position on the team. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And so, like, at the end of the day, like I'm in charge of myself and, our group, we're in charge of filling the most important position on the team. And so, yeah, there's some, there's some pressure that comes along with that. And however we fill it, it doesn't mean we're going to have an immediate answer, this year, you know what I mean? And so, but at the end of the day, we have to have an answer,
right?
In some form or fashion, and so, yeah, there's pressure that comes along with it. And again, that's also part of the excitement too, is that pressure, is finding that guy. That'll be the next task.
Two things. That clip was definitely sped up. Like no one talks that fast between Will Compton and Dave Ziegler.
Yeah.
Second thing, we may not have an immediate answer at quarterback this season. The vibe that I'm getting from Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler is that this is their opportunity to get a quarterback for the future. And that's what Josh McDaniels always wanted when he was the coach of the Broncos. He inherited Jay Cutler and really didn't want him. He let that be known that he was interested in getting Matt Castle, and then things went crazy with him and they had to get rid of him. So he settled on Kyle Orton and he tried to draft Tim Tebow, and he got fired before he even could start using him in his offense. And now he's on the Raiders, and he inherited Derek Carr, and he wanted to work with Derek Carr, but it's not working out, as has been chronicled by Hondo Carpenter. So now I think they want to build this the smart way, as opposed to going all in for a guy to win, next season. And there's a lot of expectations with the Raiders, obviously. A year ago, they got Devontae Adams, and the Super Bowl is going to be in Vegas. And they got to compete with the Super Bowl champions. And they got to compete with the Chargers. And they got to compete with Sean Payton and the Broncos. But I think that they're going to slow play this. And I think they're going to probably draft a quarterback 7th overall. And I don't think they want to give up the draft capital to get Aaron Rodgers. That's why I think they were all in on Tom Brady. They probably were comfortable with Tom Brady for a season and drafting a quarterback. But I don't think they like the idea of giving up potentially a first-round pick to get Aaron Rodgers. So I'm in agreement with you, Steven. Not that I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to retire or anything, but I do think that the Raiders, after reading Hondo Carpenter and a little bit of Vic Tafur, I think that they're going to pass on Aaron Rodgers, and who knows what that means for Devontae Adams if he has to play with a rookie for a season. When he says immediate answer, I also think that he means a stopgap guy. And that's where I think Jimmy Garoppolo could be in the fold. But I also think, why would Jimmy want to go to another place where he's not the guy again? He's got to fill in for a season or two and then give the reins over to another younger quarterback. So I think that's a possibility, maybe, if he's interested. But then again, I don't see him fitting with Devontae Adams. I think it's very more likely, and I know you're going to hate this, and I know a lot of Raider fans would hate this idea, but Scott Turner is on the coaching staff now, and he was the quarterback coach for the Commanders last year. I think it's more likely that they go with Carson Wentz for a season, draft a guy, and that's how they roll this season.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I think once Tom Brady retired, all their plans just went to shit. Like, I think when Tom Brady retired, I think that was when everything just. I think that's
when they have to know that's a possibility.
I really don't know what their plan was after that. It sounds like they didn't really have much of a plan B. Maybe Rodgers is that guy. And Carson Wentz is a total maybe, but who knows? Maybe even Marcus Mariota will come back to the Raiders. I don't know. Maybe these guys are vying for him, but I do think I'm not gonna lie though. I've been watching a lot of Anthony Richardson highlights.
You like him?
Man, it's just the idea of going with like the quarterback who is where you're kind of taking a risk, but at the same time, like, the talent is there. I know he only had one season in Florida, but like, man, the effort with which he throws the football, there is none. Like, it doesn't look like he's efforting to even throw the football, yet he just bombs it 60 yards. Like, that dude can make plays. I'm getting sold more and more on him. I don't know what their plan is with the draft, though. Like, I think it's probably looking like they are going to take a quarterback. It's hard to sell your veteran players on that. And maybe they're just in a terrible situation where it's just not even going to work, and no matter what moves they make, it's not going to work. I don't even know what the fix is for the Raiders right now. I wonder what's going on within that organization, because like, I just saw Marcel Reese resign today, and he's been like the right-hand man to Davis for forever. And since they've had this is what Sandra Douglas is like their third president in the last 3 years. Like, I there's something going on in the organization, man. Like, I don't know if any free agents want to go there. I really don't know, but yeah, just, what? Priority right now, pay Jacobs. Like, I don't even care about the quarterback position. Get as much talent as you can around the offense so that you can survive with a mediocre quarterback, maybe like Carson Wentz, but and draft one and draft a guy like Richardson. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know what the solution is. Like, I don't envy the situation that they're in right now. I don't think any GM does. It's so hard to come back from where they're coming back from. Like, the team that they took over was not that great. So, I don't know,
but it was, though. It was a playoff team.
Maybe it wasn't.
Oh, come on. There's a lot of talent on that team.
I'm not
talking defensively.
It's a playoff offense, but not a playoff defense.
Okay, but you could fix that. And that's where the draft comes into play. And that's why I understand just one fix at quarterback isn't going to fix everything. Now, would it be the best offense that Aaron Rodgers ever had? Yeah, most likely. Because as far as all the talent around him, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, who he's had before, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, yeah, I'd say that's probably the best offense he's ever been on. But what about the offensive line? What about the defense? There's so many more glaring holes that I understand why they may go the more smart approach. However, that may mean that you're going to be the worst team in the division in a very competitive division. We'll see what happens with the Broncos. Sean Payton maybe could turn that team around. But, Sean Payton is now inheriting Russell Wilson, who I guess wanted Pete Carroll fired. And I believe that. I honestly believe that. That's a story for another day. As far as the Raiders, I think the fix is multiple things. It's the quarterback, it's the defense, and it's the offensive line. And it's learning how to win. This organization has not consistently won in a long time. That is the fix. Is beating the Chiefs and being a good team again. That's the fix. And it's not that simple. It's very complex, but That's why they may need every draft pick they could get in order to do that. So while I think it's going to be less sexy, and Raider fans may get frustrated, and Devontae Adams may even get frustrated because this is not what he signed up for. But I do think that maybe, I hate saying this, they may need to go through another minor rebuild where they're slowly getting better again through their rookies and the draft picks that they select.
Yep. Yeah. And hey, who's available? Baker Mayfield. Maybe him.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, between the three, who would you want? Jimmy, Baker, or Carson?
Oh gosh, that's
with also with the knowledge that this is a 1-year thing, and they will draft a quarterback 7th overall, whether it's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson.
I'd take Jimmy.
Really?
Yeah, I'd take Jimmy.
He just can't throw deep.
I have seen him complete a deep ball every now. I'm not saying that he is like this accurate thrower who's going to be constantly going deep at all, but I feel like McDaniels would have a little more faith in him. And when I was looking back at his Patriots numbers, like in the small sample size that he had, I know he was a lot younger at the time too. So it's not to say like he hasn't, gone through a series of injuries, which including a shoulder surgery, which may, impede his ability to throw as consistently deep as he was when he was with the Patriots. But he was averaging more yards per game, if I'm not mistaken, or more yards per attempt when he was with the Patriots. Maybe McDaniels would look at him differently than Kyle Shanahan would, because he was a product of Shanahan's system. And I think in part it did have to do with Shanahan not trusting it. But yeah, out of all those guys, though, Jimmy would be the one who, in my opinion, even though he can't throw deep, he would be the one that those other two guys could lose you a game by themselves. Whereas Jimmy, a lot of the time, like Jimmy,
he very well could too.
Jimmy could, but he could also win you a lot of games too. And Wentz and Mayfield have not proven that they can really do that. So
I hear you, but also I would also say that if you're Jimmy Garoppolo and he's reportedly wanting the biggest contract or the biggest money he could get on the open market, why would you do the same thing over again? Why would you go to an organization that's going to replace you in a couple of seasons?
Well, what about your hypothetical? What about you? What do you think between the three? You're going Wentz. I know you're going Wentz. You love Wentz.
Not as much as I used to. But I do believe that in this offense, he can deliver the ball to Devontae. I understand that he's definitely not the guy I thought he was. And whatever off the field stuff he has too, that also could be a dangerous thing of him trying to mentor a young quarterback, because the MO on him is that he's not a good team guy. He's not a good leader. But watching some highlights last year, watching him play live with the Commanders, I've seen a couple good passes. It was not as good as, again, I understand Jim Irsay did not like Carson Wentz, but I thought he played a hell of a lot better with the Colts than he did a year ago with the Commanders. There are glimpses, there are flashes, like he threw the touchdown pass, a beautiful one, to who's the rookie for the Commanders now? John Dotson.
Yeah.
Threw a great pass to him week 1. That was a touchdown. He threw a beautiful dime to De'Ami Brown that went for a touchdown during the season. He flashes at moments. He's not a starting quarterback in this league anymore. But is he a stopgap quarterback? Yeah, I can have him ride it out for a season with the Raiders. But you probably going to lose some games, and you're probably going to pull your hair out with him throwing 3 interceptions in a game.
Yeah.
But is it going to be a good adjustment for the new rookie quarterback? Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. Well, it's not exactly you're not exactly given the 3 greatest options. It's like you're really choosing, all right, which cat food do you want to pick here? You know what I mean?
Well, what about dog food? What about Jacoby Brissett?
I could deal with Jacoby Brissett. If you want to talk about
him.
Yeah, if you want to talk about a guy who's not going to turn the ball over, I'd be interested in that.
That definitely would be a stopgap guy. Good guy. He played well with the Browns last year. He could probably do pretty well on the Raiders offense. You know what? Out of all of them, I go with Jacoby Brissett.
Interesting. Okay. Fair enough.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm starting to get the feeling that Aaron Rodgers is not coming to the Raiders.
Right. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
Kind of a bummer, honestly. But he's also a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Let's shift over to basketball. Warriors. So when we left the podcast, the Warriors were at 500. I want to say they were 29-29 going into the All-Star break.
Correct.
And they come out. Well, let me say the All-Star break. All-Star game, unwatchable. Absolutely unwatchable.
Yeah, can't.
They can't do it and won't do it probably going forward. Even though I never was interested, I don't even care about the new format. Just not my thing. But I will say, Slam Dunk Contest, Stay Alive by my man
Mac
McClung.
Sounds like you're really dialed in.
All I know is that white guy can dunk.
Yeah, but the thing for me, I'm not gonna say like I'm not trying to take anything away from him because I absolutely am. But like the fact that he hadn't played, it really took away from the dunk contest for me. Like the dunks were sick, but I didn't feel like I was watching the NBA dunk contest. I just felt like I was watching another YouTube video.
It did feel a little and one. Like this guy actually doesn't play in the league.
It's like if you're gonna do a dunk contest like that, then go all out. But it's not the NBA All-Star Dunk Contest.
Well, that's the thing too, is that everyone was like, "Oh yeah." Again, what's his name? McClung. He's a G leaguer, and everybody respected him after that. But you put him in an NBA game, and let's see how he actually does.
He had a cup of coffee with the Warriors. He played for the Summer League and then was waived. Like everyone was obsessed with Mac McClung for like a day because he scored 23 points in a game, and then after that just fizzled out. And it's like the dude's incredibly impressive in terms of his athletics, but I'm seeing like he saved the dunk contest. Like if anything, I'm not gonna like I don't have any incentive to watch the dunk contest next year if you're not going to involve any actual NBA players.
That's
like,
fair.
It's great. Fair. All right, I'll get to watch Mac McClung for a night. It's like something. There's a little magic in watching Bobby Abreu hit 50 home runs after going absolutely crazy in the first half of a season in 2005, and then you follow it up hitting like 6. It's like there's something beautiful about watching like a guy who thrives in the home run derby, and then you get to watch him in the second half of the season. It's not like you're introduced. Like I've learned about Zach LaVine through the dunk contest, and then all of a sudden he turns into one of the premier players in the league. I guess another example I could use is like Dennis Jones Jr. Like who the hell is that? Dwight Howard. Like what happened to actual stars being in the dunk contest?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing.
It's like a week long. This is a rant that's, we're too far removed. I'm just like, I don't get it. Like it's an NBA player. Okay. But he's not, he's a G League guy.
No, I mean, I hear you. It was entertaining, but like it's not anything that I'm really that interested in. But at the same time, I guess the cat's interrupting us.
No, I'm trying to save my computer from dying.
No, it's all good. Big names don't want to do it. As you heard John Morant say, like, I'm not doing that. He's too busy putting guns in faces of 17-year-old kids.
Correct.
Let's see if that's actually a true story. Good God.
Yeah. Not good.
But yeah, good 15 minutes of fame for old Max McClung, whatever the fuck his name is. All right. As far as the Warriors, 29-29, they come out of the All-Star break. They lose to the new look Lakers. And then they look pretty damn good. 3 impressive wins. I would say the impressive win with the Rockets was that Klay Thompson goes for 12 threes again. And Klay's looking fantastic. Love the way he's playing. Then they come back against the Timberwolves, win that game. Klay, fantastic in that game. And then last night, down 23 points, the Portland Trail Blazers with Damian Lillard coming off a 71-point game, and they held him to 40 points in the second half, where it was a totally different team in the second half.
Correct.
Jonathan Kuminga throwing it down.
Yeah.
Steve playing him. Also, Steve was on with Tolbert and Kolsky today, and Kolsky was saying, like, what's the best way I could phrase, Steve, how come you're not playing the young guys? And he did it in a nice way, and Steve got into it and was just like, it's really just practice. And guys making the right decisions that I noticed that they're able to play in a game. So I understand everybody's like, come on, Anthony Lamb over Jonathan Kuminga. It's Steve wants to see good decision-making. And Jonathan Kuminga played well last night, and hopefully he plays more as the season progresses. But I think they're looking pretty good. I don't know about them defensively, but the three straight wins have been good. Let's see where it goes. They got a real, interesting test tomorrow against the Clippers. The Clippers, they haven't been they've been playing well offensively, but defensively with Russell Westbrook, they've lost 3 in a row. They had that crazy game against the Kings.
Yes.
That went to double overtime, second highest scoring game in NBA history. They lose to the Nuggets, and then they lose last night to the Timberwolves. A lot of teams trying to figure things out, like Kyrie Irving and Luka are 1-4 together on the court. But let's see what happens when the Warriors get Steph Curry back next week. They shot back up last night. A lot of things went in their favor with winning the game. A lot of teams losing. Now the Warriors are the 5th seed in this crazy Western Conference. This time last year, Steven, you and I were talking about the Warriors, and we were all gloom and doom about them. If you remember, like, we were talking about Steph Curry was hurt, Draymond was hurt, and we were talking about, can this team go on a run again, or are they going to be like a good playoff team? And we were not very optimistic about them. We thought, okay, they'll be the 3rd seed, they'll be the 4th seed, and whatever. Could just be a good season. And they went on and won the whole thing again. This season, they definitely have not looked as good as in years past where they've won the championship. But Klay Thompson last night in the postgame says, I don't think anybody wants to see us in the playoffs. So with a healthy Steph Curry, and who knows what's going on with Andrew Wiggins right now, hopefully he gets whatever situations was going on with his family rectified and he comes back on the court as much time as he needs. There's a lot of different things going on. Kevin Durant made his debut with the Suns tonight, and they look very good. It's a very more competitive Western Conference, but you got the Nuggets at the top. I don't know about them. I love Jokic, but are they actually going to live up to expectations? You got the Kings as the 3rd seed. Are we still buying the Warriors as maybe handling themselves in the Western Conference?
Of course, you don't want to ever count them out, but I think a lot rides on these next 2 games. Because you got 2 games remaining at home. You're the worst road team in the NBA. You got 2 games there, and then you got 3 more, and those games on the road aren't too bad. I think you got the Lakers, you got the Thunder. I'm blanking on the other one right now. But you got 3 pretty good teams on the road. I think it's the Grizzlies. Yeah, so
that's the target date for Steph, by the way.
But the Clippers and the Pelicans, that's you got to win these games at home. You got to take advantage as many as you can because you got 10 games at home and 10 games on the road for the 20 remaining. But following the Grizzlies game, you're at home taking on the Bucks. Then you got the Suns. Then you're on the road to take on the Clippers, the Hawks, and the Grizzlies. It's not an easy schedule going forward. And that's kind of what makes me a little nervous because they're in the 5th seed right now. But with a loss tomorrow, they're in the 6th seed. And then you lose one more time to the Pelicans, and you're probably in the 8th seed. That's how congested it is right now with the teams that are. I think the Suns are gonna. I personally think they're gonna. I think they're gonna break away from that pack. The Suns are kind of involved in that, but I think now that with Kevin Durant, I think they're gonna break away from that. And I think the top 4 teams are kind of set. Not necessarily in that order, but I think when you got the Nuggets, the Kings, the Suns, and I'm blanking on the other team, can't think of it, but when you got them, and then you got, the teams in the back end, the Grizzlies, they're the other team that I'm thinking of. And you got the teams on the back end, the 5 through 10 teams. It could go either way. That's why I think these 2 games, a lot's riding on. It's been great that the Warriors have been 12-12 since Curry's been out. I think that record's a lot better than what it used to be. But you're getting a lot of games though where the other team is not executing. The Blazers did not have any answer for when the Warriors attacked Dame. And the fact that Anthony Simons was out was huge because that brings a whole nother scoring threat, which opens things up for Dame. But the game before that, even against Minnesota, the Warriors, the issues with late game execution continued. And that's the biggest difference to me, which is why I'm not as confident as I would be in previous years because of the way that they've closed out games, even with Steph and Draymond and Wiggins and everyone on the court. And it seems like late game execution is still an issue. And I don't know what the perfect lineup is, but I do want to just give a shout out real quick because I loved this. And I love when the Warriors get a little cocky, and I love when hearing stuff like that with Klay, with nobody wants to see him in the playoffs. But Looney, when Kerr says during practice, straight up, yeah, Looney just refuses to sit. He says no whenever we recommend it. And I'm going to respect that because it's Looney. And he's gone through 2 hip surgeries before he was 20 years old. damn, that's so cool, man. Like, shout out to Looney for holding it down. I don't know, man. I was just like, I remember thinking like that guy was done 2 years ago. I remember saying like, where the hell is Looney's place on this team? Like, what value does he bring? And then last year he sets this goal to play in all 82 games in the season, and now he's up to, I think, like 165 consecutive games or 166 or something like that, and that's going back to 2021. I don't know, just a shout out to Looney throughout this run, man. I mean, 17 rebounds on Sunday. He didn't exactly follow it up like that on Tuesday, but man, I don't know. Just shout out to Loon. That's my big takeaway from the Warriors right now.
Well, no, I mean he's been the guy that they've needed. Like I thought that he was going to leave once Kevin Durant signed on the team, and he stuck around, taking lesser deals, and then he finally got his last year. But he really shined last year in the playoffs. So Looney, yeah, more props to him, man. He's definitely made something out of himself with low expectations coming to the Warriors.
Right.
Just to give you a standings update in the Western Conference, the Nuggets are in first, and I don't think the Warriors will catch them. They're along the same lines as the Bucks and Celtics having the best record in basketball. Grizzlies are second, Sacramento Kings are third, Phoenix Suns are fourth, and the Warriors are fifth. So if the season ended today, and it never does, they would play each other, and that would be one hell of a first-round matchup with Kevin Durant going to the Suns. Then you got the Clippers at 6, Mavericks at 7th, Timberwolves at 8, Utah at 9, Pelicans at 10, and now that Los Angeles Lakers have lost LeBron James for the foreseeable future, and Anthony Davis did not play tonight, they're slipping a little bit. They are in 11th. So I do think that the Warriors are still a team that teams fear. And if they were a first-round matchup to any team, let's just say like they play the Sacramento Kings in the first round, I'd give the edge to the Warriors just because the Kings are young, and they're a good, young, scrappy bunch, but they don't play any defense either. And I think that Steve Kerr would have the edge on going up against Mike Brown.
Yeah.
But that being said, even with a healthy Steph Curry, I don't know if the Warriors have the most talent in the NBA anymore. I think now with Kevin Durant going to the Phoenix Suns, that changes things. I think they would lose to them. They may even lose to the Mavericks if they get a better seed with Luka and Kyrie. So I just don't think they're the best team in the West anymore. Now, are they the most mentally tough playoff team still out there? Yes. They have the most experience of any team that, current players that, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, they've won more championships than any team out there right now. So I think they're more mentally tough than any other team. But as far as the talent, I'm not so sure anymore. But I like to be wrong.
Yeah. Other teams have a lot of depth right now. And the Warriors, it's sad to say, but and I know a lot of people trash on these guys. I don't necessarily fully understand why. But like playing Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome, there's something that Kerr really likes about them. And I don't know if they're going to be signed to guaranteed contracts or not. In the playoffs, you're going to need GP2 just to instantly come back and make an immediate impact. Like you can't have him, work his way back to being like the GP2 of old. You need him to be like instantly the GP2 that you had last year. You need his defense coming off the bench. Dante DiVincenzo as well. But it's that mentality though. And I understand, and you totally like a lot of these players nowadays, they don't want to face Steph Curry in the postseason. Like nobody does. But also I think teams are going to learn a little bit from that last series, say against the Grizzlies, for example. Like you don't want to talk that talk and then, go out there and give them extra motivation. So whichever team plays them, they're not going to say anything, I don't think, at least before, about how they're confident in beating the Warriors and they're going to be a team to topple them. Like, no, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, the Suns would.
The Warriors are one of the it's such a hard team to evaluate, man. Like they're so up and down. They go on these streaks, and then there's a reason why they're 32-30. Like no team that's 25-7 at home should be 32-30 with their record overall. It's so weird, just the way that they play at home compared to the way they play on the road. It's odd.
I mean, they dog it on the road. It's just what it is. And I also think that there's maybe a little more complacency than there has been in seasons past, just because that there may be some last dance elements to this season. As we said, I fully expect Draymond Green to be gone next season.
Yep.
I fully expect Bob Myers to be gone next season. So there may be just a little bit of this is the end. But who knows? I also don't think they want to go out with a whimper. They want to go out with a bang. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I agree. But you know what? And you mentioned him a little bit, but yeah, watching Klay Thompson just carry this team.
Oh yeah,
it's been something to marvel at. I love watching that.
And I also say this confidently, and he may shoot this down. I think Klay's in a better headspace than he was at the beginning of the season. I think that things were getting to him, whatever it was, not fully recovering from his injuries, and now he's playing on back-to-backs a little bit. He had the Charles Barkley stuff get to him a little bit. I think that he's back in his element now, and he's Klay Thompson again.
Yeah, I agree. Keep talking. I got to grab a laptop charger.
All good. Speaking of Kevin Durant, he made his debut tonight for the Phoenix Suns. He went 27 minutes, 10 to 15 from the floor, 2 of 4 from three-point land, and he finished with 23 points. So all in all, a good day for the Phoenix Suns, as I guess his presence helped out Devin Booker with him scoring 37 points. So good debut for old Kevin Durant. And as soon as Steve gets back, we'll finish the conversation as I keep tap dancing.
Attaboy. Well done.
I want to talk to you about this because we talked about it on KMBR this whole week. And I don't watch a lot of spring training baseball. But from what you've seen,
it's not even televised.
I know, but there's stuff on ESPN. Like Aaron Judge getting mic'd up during the game today and talking about how it was a no-brainer to go back to the Yankees. Yikes. But just your early thoughts on the pitch clock. You get 15 seconds. You love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens in the regular season. Like, that's the thing. Like, everybody's overreacting now. Like, Alex Cobb said he felt rushed into the game.
Aw.
So you're going with all these guys are old man, get off my lawn. Let's adapt to the new times.
Yes. And I'm saying this as a morning guy. The amount of
Now, this is all about you.
It is. This is all about me, Derek. You're asking what I feel about the pitch clock. Do I feel some sympathy or empathy rather for these guys who like to work slow and kind of like to, create the tempo of their game? Like, do I empathize with them? Sure I do. That sucks that you can't use that way anymore. But as a morning guy, when I see that games are 2.5 hours on average, and I get to go to bed at 9:30 from a 7 o'clock start, I am all for it. So sorry to the old heads out there that may not enjoy it, but I'm all about it.
I hear you. And I really don't have an opinion yet, because until I see the regular season, I'm not going to have an opinion. There are things that we saw in the preseason of football, like we saw like there was going to be an emphasis on certain rules that we've seen, like a lot of flags in the preseason. And then once we get to the regular season, that shit doesn't get called. So whatever happened in the Red Sox and Braves game last Friday, I don't think you'll ever see a game end like that in the regular season, nor should it, because that was ridiculous. I think they'll be more lenient with guys in regular season games, like the Manny Machado, whatever, like him not getting back in the batter's box with time for the pitcher. They'll learn. And Jim Bowden said that we had him on earlier this week, and he told us that by July he expects that everyone will forget about the pitch clock. I agree with that. I also think that the guys that are playing in the World Baseball Classic are going to be at a disadvantage because they're not playing with the same rules, so they'll have to go, up to speed once the regular season starts. But I don't really have a big opinion on it yet. Let's see if it's actually fucking with the regular season games.
Yep. But hey, what I've seen so far is it's shortened these games by 2.5 hours.
Hey, and I'm all about that too, because I love going to baseball parks and watching games. I love going to the A's Stadium. I love going to the Giants Stadium, having food and drinking. And I guess you'll pay attention a little bit more because you can't really dick around with your friends and have conversations. You got to, like the pitchers, you got to be ready to watch another play. I will say this, though. It is going to kill story time with John Miller, because John Miller loves to weave a good yarn, and he's got to finish that story quicker to get to the pitch.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't exactly suit for guys like Vin Scully, for example, he'd be trying to tell like a story about Madison Bumgarner. It would take him like 4 batters to do it.
Interesting to note that Madison Bumgarner likes to go on his motorcycle, and sure enough, that broke his hand a couple years ago. And also interesting to note, I just missed 5 pitches.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They brought it back to life and found that it was inside of a snake that they found.
And that snake gave birth. Yeah, John. I feel bad for John Miller because John likes to talk, and he's fantastic. One of my favorite baseball announcers. But it is going to throw off like the rhythm of telling a story and then going back to the pitch.
Right. Agreed. But it's
they're professionals. They're professionals.
They are, and it's a consequence. I think they are willing to take because, like, I don't know, watching Kruk and Kipe after last year, they just seemed bored. The team was boring. The team was boring, but there's no action. Like, there's nothing going on. I don't know. Like, that's the vibe I got. Like, I love those guys, and I think they're as funny and as legendary as any broadcasters, and I'm certainly going to miss them when they're gone. But, like, a lot of the time, they just sound bored on the air nowadays, just with the game overall. And until it gets to, like, the 9th inning and there's a big moment. But I don't know. There's just so many lulls in the game nowadays. It just feels like they're kind of, just telling the stories because they're forced to instead of actually focusing on the game, So I don't know. I could be wrong, but and maybe it's the broadcast would be worse, but I don't know. I that's not something I'm going to be thinking about. I personally like it. I'm excited for it. I'm more excited for the lack of the shift. I'm all about it.
Why though?
Because it's not natural to have a guy playing up the middle. Like, it's just not.
But it's just defensive scheme.
I know it's defensive scheme, but it's defense. Baseball doesn't need a defensive scheme. Baseball needs to be a guy at third, a guy at short, a guy at second, and a guy at first, not 3 guys in right field and left field completely open. And, you got the third baseman all the way at shortstop. It's just an overloading to the right side. Like, you don't need that. No, there's no defensive strategy that's needed. Let baseball be natural instead of trying to defeat the game.
I understand that point too.
It's just boring, and these rules are all in favor of the hitter, and that's what it's about. But
maybe they need that to get the sport sexy again.
They do. It's
bringing sexy back.
It's just we always talk
baseball
about
baseball don't know how to act.
We always talk about in football. Like, I don't know how much. Like, football used to be a lot more violent in the early 2000s, but if you look at those scores, like, I don't know how many people would be about the football, the football that was played back then with the lack of scoring and the lack of plays that teams ran and all this sort of stuff. The game's evolved now to where it's frustrating with the amount of offense where it's to the point where it's like defense is non-existent, but there needs to be offense. There needs to be offense in some capacity.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. We'll see what happens in the regular season, though. I'm not willing to go crazy on the pitch clock just yet. Your hand okay? You've been staring at it for a while.
No, I clipped myself with the clippers here. I was playing with it and it clipped myself.
You clipping your nails during the
I'm not clipping. I am not clipping my nails. I'm just fidgeting. I'm just like, it's
okay,
like a nervous tick.
I got you.
I'm not nervous. I'm just like, I'm talking, but something that I do. There's a lot of times where I'm like clicking a pen or doing something. It gets the motor running. You know what I mean? It keeps my brain alive.
Yeah, you do the old Matt Steinmetz tweaking of the mic while you're talking.
Oh my gosh, no way. Oh, that's the worst. Sheesh.
Love you, Steiny.
Love you, Steiny, but my goodness, man.
And you can hear it too.
Yeah.
We don't need a pitch clock for this segment. I'll give you 70 seconds, Steven. You want to talk about Chelsea?
Okay, so Chelsea.
Hold on. It's time for Steven's 70-second soccer segment. Siri, set a timer for 70 seconds. Here you go.
Okay, so Chelsea brought in this new owner, Dodgers guy, Todd Bailey. He's the co-owner of the Dodgers right now. It's because Roman Abramovich was a Russian oligarch, and he has ties to Vladimir Putin. So they had to change owners. It got bad when the war started. So they got a new owner, Todd Bailey. What did Todd Bailey do? He set a record in terms of spending, the most that any teams ever spend in the transfer window. So they brought in a couple of guys, in João Felix and Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez just won the World Cup with Argentina. He's one of the best, if not the best midfielder in the game. João Felix is one of the young up-and-comers. He's like this 23-year-old forward from Atletico Madrid. He's a stud. They just signed him to a permanent contract, and they spent a ton of money, but they haven't won a damn game except for one against Crystal Palace since they brought in all these guys. It is sad that they have just spent everything, a historic amount, and it hasn't even resulted in a win. And their manager right now, Graham Potter, he's brand new. I don't know what's going to happen to him, but it is frustrating, especially because my cousin's an Arsenal fan, and he keeps on texting me every single time that Chelsea lose, and he talks about how much he loves it.
Well done.
Thank you.
On the nose.
Yeah. I heard the beeping. I could go on. Like this game against Southampton. How do you lose 1-0?
We're going overtime now.
How do you lose 1-0 to
Extra
Southampton?
time.
Are you kidding me? Give me a break. And then you lose to Tottenham 2-0 the other day. I wasn't even awake for that Tottenham game. And then it's just, it's like you put together the Dodgers and then you turn into the Diamondbacks. Like what? Sure, that's not how it works. Anyway. Whew.
Well done.
Thanks. Yeah.
Should we do a little pop culture catch up?
A little pop culture catch up. All right, let's do it.
All right. You didn't see it, but I did.
Uh-huh.
This is the only one you got the ticker for. Fantastic.
I do, yeah. It's always ready.
Little review. Pop at the movies. Let's review Cocaine Bear.
Uh-huh.
All right. So went to go see the movie. And I got in the mood for it. Let's just say I wasn't on cocaine, but I was in the right state of mind to see Cocaine Bear. If you catch my drift.
Would you have Tums? Like, did you have them digested?
I was in a silly mood, Steven. I got silly for the movie.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So you had some like laughing gas or?
Sure. There you go.
Yeah.
Walked over to the old Grand Lake Theater up here in Oakland. Went to go sit down and watch the movie.
On your own?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun. It's a fun, it's Cocaine Bear. It's all in the name. The beginning is fantastic. It is kind of an ode to Wet Hot American Summer, which Elizabeth Banks was in once upon a time. I think it was her first movie back in the day. So she directed the movie, and you can see a lot of influences of kind of her goofy style of humor here or there. I will say this, after the beginning of the movie, it kind of fizzles out. I was hoping it'd be a lot goofier and not take itself so seriously. There's also a lot of characters I don't give a shit about. Like O'Shea Jackson Jr. is fine in it, but there's also the guy from The Wire that says shit. Like that guy's funny in it. But there's also, I guess, a lot of characters that I can give a shit about. And to be honest, for a movie called Cocaine Bear, so for a lot more bear and cocaine. So it was fun, but I was hoping it'd be a little more goofy. Now it's also a quick movie. It's 90 minutes long. Yeah, it's violent, but it's also very cartoony in the way that they do it. So if you're squeamish, like, don't be. It's not scary. It's not going to jump at you. It's more funny than anything. But I was hoping it'd be a little more goofy than anything. So I would say I give it about, if we're going by the rating system of Steiny Yaz, yeah, I'm going with 2.5 Steiny Yaz.
Out of how many?
5.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
You're not really selling me on this movie, Derek.
I if you're looking for a better movie to go see, wait for it. But it's a fun time in the theater if you want to get in the right state of mind beforehand. But yeah, you could also wait for it to be on whatever streaming platform, and you can get high and watch it at your house.
So it's you're saying you don't need to pay for it. You don't need to go to the theater, grab your popcorn, and try to reserve a seat, which every theater does nowadays. You don't need to do any of that. Just wait for it to come out on whatever streaming service.
I would say that's fine. If you really just want to go to the movies, it's also fine too. It's not terrible. It's also just not amazing. It's right dab in the middle.
He cut me deep, Shrek. Coming real deep just now.
My name's Derek, and it's Cocaine Bear we're talking about.
Tough.
I know.
I was really looking forward
I
to
know
it.
you. I know you had your heart set on it, but you know me. I'll be honest with movies. It's okay. It's okay.
All right. So that means it'll be really good. All right. I'm excited then. You know, this makes me more
I have
excited.
a high standard, as you know.
You do have a very high standard. And when it's a B-list movie like this one, I think that the standards might be a little high for you. You also said that Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar was one of the funniest movies that you've ever seen. And it's like, you want to talk about a movie that fizzles out after the first half hour. Whew.
And that movie's got great jokes, Steven.
It's like after the first half hour, though, it's like, whatever.
Maybe I'm watching all these movies high, and just some are funny to me and some are not.
All right. Fair enough. It's just your opinion, man.
Just my opinion, man. Also watched The Fablemans with my mom while I was in Florida.
Nice. Yeah. Well,
that was okay too. It was good. Good.
I loved it.
Oh, you saw it?
Oh yeah. Your boys a SAG-AFTRA member. Drop.
Are you really?
Yeah. They give me the DVDs to vote for the awards.
Since when are you a SAG member?
Since I got the new job.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
You gonna send your boys some screeners?
No, it's crazy. I've never had one before. And The Fablemans was the one I watched because they sent a lot of movies I've already seen, or TV shows. I think they sent me the entire season of like Ozark. They sent me the entire season of Severance, which I'm in the middle of watching right now.
Severance is a great show.
It's a great show. I forgot the other one. There's plenty of other ones, but they also sent me, The Fablemans. They sent me Living with Bill Nye, which is like an existential movie where he's supposed to be like a best actor candidate. I think he is. Banshees of Inisherin, the Irish one where I'm gonna cut off my finger if you talk to me.
That I watched on HBO Max. That is a interesting movie about a guy that wants to be left alone.
Yeah, my mom kind of put it into perspective for me. I thought it was I might look at it differently the next time, but the whole point is kind of just like illustrate what life was like back then. And I think the relationship between the two was supposed to be symbolic of the war that's happening in the distance, in which you only hear the gunshots. Oh, I'm gonna cut off my finger and throw it at your door if you talk to me.
Yeah,
I loved it. But
I felt bad for Colin Farrell in that movie. It's like, just someone hang out with him. Jesus,
I know, right? He's harmless. But
kind of dull though.
Point being, when I got the DVD, it says that I have to. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this. It says
SAG revoked.
It says you watch it once and then you have to basically like get rid of the DVD. It's like a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I'm about to say, was it blow up?
Yeah, it's like as soon as you're done watching, this DVD will blow up in 5 seconds, and then just like a little puff of smoke comes from my PlayStation 4, which is what I watch DVDs through. Yeah. So but I love The Fablemans though. I enjoyed it. I thought it was right. It forced me to watch a few Steven Spielberg movies. I watched Saving Private Ryan after I watched that.
You've seen it before though, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh,
favorite Spielberg movie.
Ooh, favorite Spielberg movie. Hook is right up there. And Saving Private Ryan's probably number one though.
Mine's gonna be controversial.
What's that?
Just a solid movie. Like my favorite. Like he's made better movies, but my favorite movie,
Adventures of Tintin.
Catch Me If You Can.
That's a good one. I'm not going to knock you for that one. That's not controversial.
It's just like when you think of his movies, that's not one.
Well, yeah, but like if I'm talking about like a controversial Spielberg movie, I'm going like War Horse.
Oh yeah,
that's like my favorite. Ooh, you know what my favorite Spielberg movie is? War Horse. Yeah. Nah, dude. Like,
or the new West Side Story.
Oh, the new West Side Story is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. I saw when I was a kid. The old one, same thing.
Oh my God, it's the same, but it's an updated version, Derek.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, man.
Okay.
When you're a jet, you're a jet till you're jet till you last fine jet.
That's what Aaron Rodgers is going to be singing next week.
What else? What have I been catching up on, man?
Let me say about The Fablemans. Hold on.
Oh yeah, keep on going with your take.
I love the beginning of the movie with the little kid and loving movies and everything, and then it kind of got, I guess I didn't realize it was going to be very much about the family, in I guess Steven Spielberg's family, which interesting dynamic with the father and the mother and Seth Rogen.
So wait, you went into the movie called The Fablemans and you were surprised that it was a movie about
the Fablemans?
The
Yes.
Fablemans?
No, I thought it was gonna be more about like making movies, which it was in some aspects, but it was well done. It was a very well done movie. I was just kind of expecting it to be more about his growth, his like love for movies growing a little bit more, as opposed to the family dynamic. But it all was very well done.
Yeah, I did. I don't know if I was gonna be like a what's that one called? Cinema Paradiso, about the Italian filmmaker who's like sitting in a movie theater just watching movies, and like while he's watching them, his love for them grows. It's more about the life of, I don't know, him being in like school, and it's very I think it is kind of a good movie for this time, especially when like anti-Semitism seems to be coming to the forefront, and like he's certainly a victim of that, or certainly was, and I'm sure maybe a large I don't know if he meant to do that, but like a large chunk of it is kind of based on that. And so I think it's kind of a good message that people do go through that. They have gone through that for years and years and years. Man, I was thinking, Jaws is up there too. Love Jaws.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
E.T.
Oh. Come on, bro. Jaws.
Need a bigger boat. Yeah.
Come on,
Jaws.
dude. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. I wouldn't have been able to film that movie though. I cried when I saw Jaws at Universal Studios.
Well, it's a fake shark, Steven.
Yeah, I know. I was 14, dude.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was old. Got made fun of a lot. I have no shame in it. There's a perfect picture. There's like a series of them. You got the shark popping up. You got me right next to it. You got me screaming, and then following. Shout out to my dad who just kept on rolling the footage. Took another one.
Your dad's a good man for rolling in that footage.
And you see me tearing up. Oh my God. I remember watching that, and then the guy in front of me looking, just staring at me. The guy who was, I think he was the same age, but he was just like laughing the entire time because I was crying. Little jerk. Terrified of sharks though, man. I don't like sharks. I don't know how the hell. What?
Are you talking about the ride where the tour guide gets eaten by the shark?
No, the tour guide doesn't get eaten, but like his friend gets eaten on the boat. The boat's out in the middle of the thing. But yes.
I remember there was this must have been years ago, but like 20 years ago, I went to the LA Universal Studios, and I guess you do like a tour of Universal Studios. Yeah, and they do like different movies while you take the tour. And at one point, the tour guide is like, "Oh, we're coming by the place where they film the Jaws, and there's a shark, but it's okay, it's fake, guys." And it comes up and eats them. So at 9 years old, I was terrified. Yeah,
they do not say it's fake. They act like it is very real.
Well, initially he says it's fake, and then you play along, and he realizes, oh, that's a real shark. Oh shit, it's eating me.
Yeah, and you go through that. You go through the
Mummy.
You go through the
at least it was 20 years ago.
You go through the War of the Worlds set, which was cool.
Okay.
The King Kong one. I don't know. We're just talking about Universal Studio tours now. I don't know how the hell we got to this point. Steven Spielberg, Jaws, Universal Studio tours, whatever. But Severance. That's another thing. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm getting.
No, I don't blame you too. I don't blame you.
Severance is sick.
I introduced that to my mom while I was on vacation, and she got through with that within 2 days. She fucking loved it, and I love it. It's probably one of the more original shows I've ever seen.
Yes, yeah. I didn't get what was going on at first. But then like, when what's her face? Jessica Arquette. What's her name?
Patricia
Arquette is just sitting there like, I can fix that. At the end, where she's just like, where she's staring at the guy, like at Adam Scott, and she's his neighbor. There's got to be more to that. I'm very intrigued. I'm on like episode 9.
Oh, so that's the last one.
Yeah, so we gotta watch that one.
It's a good show, Steven.
Mm-hmm. Hey man, I'm just catching up on pop culture, man.
That's what we do. And we'll do it more and more as we are in the off season now. And we'll things are gonna get interesting with the fuckery going on.
Dude, you hit me with a question yesterday on the text. You hit me with like the question reaction. You down for a Just Your Opinion Man hiking trip or what?
So what do you mean? Are we gonna film it?
No, just go on a hiking trip and talk about it. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I'm down.
How boring is that? Hey, let's go to this podcast and talk about the hiking trip.
Well, you know that Kevin Nealon has a great YouTube channel called I actually forget what it's called, but he just hikes with celebrities.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
We have I just got Truth or Dab for Christmas, like the game. So we could play that. I don't know. There's a lot we could do for the
Truth or Dab.
Yeah, it's the Hot Ones thing where you got like the last dab.
Oh,
I was saying, and you got to tell
thought,
truth.
like, you know, truth, or you do the dab like the kids used to do back in the day, but now all the kids gritty.
Man, what do you think? I got the Truth or Dab game for Christmas. Hey, when was your first kiss? You know what? I'm not going to tell you.
Oh God. Well, that's what I was expecting in today's stupid society. Stop, Steven. On that note, we're going to end this podcast. Steven, is this the last time we're going to see that wall behind you?
Yeah. Moving to a new wall. Moving to a new wall in the creek, the Dub C, as they call it.
All right. Walnut Creek's my old stomping ground, so I'll definitely come out and we'll hike.
As the one guy said once when I was sitting in an In-N-Out with my brother and he was with his buddies and he just goes, "Oh, Walnut Creek, Dub C, where legends are made." The worst.
I've never heard that before in my life. Yeah. The Dub C, where the closest part in where I grew up.
It's awful.
Walnut Creek's a good spot.
Yeah.
So you're moving in on Saturday. So does that mean we'll be back on Sunday?
Maybe we'll try for that. Maybe next week. I don't know what it's going to be looking like on Sunday, but yeah, we'll try for Sunday.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. We should. We'll see what happens with the latest news. We'll see if Derek Carr signs pretty soon here. Play a little game maybe called Trade or No Trade, kind of like Deal or No Deal, with which guys could get traded, which guys don't get traded. We'll see, though.
Okay.
We'll see if we are back on Sunday. Steven's got to figure out his new Dub C place. But glad to be back for the new off season, the fuckery of Just Your Opinion, man. Steven, say what you always say, my friend.
Oh, it's just our opinion, man.